and not resisting in Oakland. Then the cops lied and said that he'd attacked them because they didn't know there were cameras. They confiscated the surveillance cameras from the bus terminal and then lied, but then two different cameras that were in trains driving by and somebody down the platform showed it was a lie. Same thing in East Austin. Cops gunned some kid down yesterday. There were riots. They were attacking police cars because, of course, Arte Cerveda says the cameras were off in all the squad cars. They're always off. But in the case of these other cases, I mean, and I don't want to fight with the cops. But it didn't used to be like this where it was just constant cops shooting people in the back. Most of them are back from Fallujah where that was a daily occurrence and you got awards for doing it. So this clip's coming up after I finish up with this caller. And then I heard you last night. What made me think of this, Jason, is I was driving home about 11:30, 11:45. It was the end of the show. And you were saying, by the way, here's the Seymour Hersh New Yorker magazine, here's Salon, here's all these other news articles. The Army's own report admits they rape children in front of their parents to make them talk. And then you get emails, I get emails saying we're lying. I mean, no, folks, we're not lying. You have to understand this. It's like when I get up and say Baxter Pharmaceutical, or excuse me, Bayer Pharmaceutical, knowingly shipped out Factor 8, knowing it had HIV. That's been on MSNBC, AP, Reuters, Australian News, knowingly killed all these people. Folks, we would be sued if that wasn't true. Point is, we're not making any of this up, but I'm going to go back over that today. Coming up, but I got to get to it. But Burmis, tell us what's coming up with this video clip.
Sure. You know, I couldn't believe it. I get all these news clips, Alex. People are constantly giving me tips, and someone sends me this thing. Yeah, this kid was playing cops and robbers with his friends, and the police officer apparently is on a robbery call. I don't know how that works since nothing was being robbed. And he just gets out, sees the kid, shoots him, and then throws him on the ground and cuffs him. I mean, you know, you mentioned that guy in Oakland. You said the cameras never worked. You're right. The cameras didn't work, supposedly, in the subway. But thank God we have cell phones in this day and age.
And then they lied. They said he assaulted the cops. He's handcuffed on the ground, and they just kill him. And then the cop gets mad and is wrestling his dead body around and slamming him. Well, he's bleeding to death at that time. And then, like, cuffing him, and I mean, I got footage of cops breaking pro-lifers' arms, and they pull out billy clubs and kind of, I'm serious. It's like some kind of sadistic, crazy man.
What about the critical mass protest where they have the permits, they're riding the bikes, and out of nowhere, a cop just picks a random biker. I mean, you couldn't have seen him 10 seconds beforehand. They're traveling at a pretty good pace. He just bows up, undercuts him, and just boom!
But it's worse. Then they charge that guy with assaulting the cop. The cop runs out of a group of cops, tackles him. The guy's not even looking at him. His head hits the ground, blood pouring out, and the cops are, death to America, death, death, death. The bankers will rule you. They will steal it all. And we're not joking. And those cops that do that, it's like the Army recruiters and Marine Corps recruiters in Denver and Houston and New York. It's always the same. They go, I'm going to arrest you if you don't sign up for the military. And the kid's going, my mom says, you know, the 17-year-old, my mom and dad say I don't have to sign up. I'm going to arrest you right now. And I'm coming over. You're going to sign it. And then they get promoted for lying and lying to the kids. The government is criminal. In fact, you know, I'm going to go back to the calls. Let's go ahead and play this video now. Go ahead and roll it. Punch it up on screen, guys.
I mean, it's bad enough, but the story is the kid was playing cops and robbers with friends, Bob?
Exactly. And no doubt this kid's lucky that he's alive. Doctors say he's going to make it. He has a single gunshot wound, but he's in stable condition in the hospital. He told sheriff's deputies he was playing this game of cops and robbers, riding his bicycle, holding a toy plastic handgun. Sheriff's deputies, however, didn't know that when they confronted him last night.
He rode the bike here, police officer made the U-turn there, went down. I didn't exactly see what happened and stuff like that, but all I know is I heard a BAM! That was it.
One shot.
One shot.
And apparently the neighbors didn't know that he had a plastic toy gun as well. It was about 8 o'clock last night that they called 911 saying that someone was riding a bicycle around the neighborhood carrying what they believed to be a gun.
Hit pause.
Deputies went out there.
Again, it's this hit pause. It's this tattletale society. I've had cops called on me putting my rifle in the back of my car to go shooting. They're just, because the billboards everywhere say report illegal guns. And they advertise as if all of America is New York City where there's a gun ban, where, oh, you got a gun, you're going to jail. And I've told that story many times. This is how they do it by perception. And I've seen several stories where they cops now arrest kids. In fact, Google YouTube, search. I'm going to stop saying Google because they'll probably shut down searching soon or restrict it. They're already starting to see that, actually. A YouTube search engine. I'm losing my mind.
Dogpile's a good one.
Yeah,
Dogpile.
Dogpile or Scroogle.org. Do a search engine, guys. I want to show folks this. Child arrested for toy gun. And then the cops say, we're charging him with a death threat. He pointed the green plastic alien blaster gun. The officer saw the weapon and moved in against the suspect immediately. Go ahead and show that. It says 10-year-old toy gun arrested, fingerprinted. Here you go. That's 11 News. Where is this out of? It's out of Georgia. The latest case of a zero tolerance at the public schools as a 10-year-old student. Seriously in trouble. I can't read it from across the room. He had a cap gun, a toy cowboy 6-shooter. I mean, this is unbelievable.
You would think that the police would have a little more discernment of gunning.
No, it's zero. No, it's not about discernment. They know it's ridiculous. It's zero tolerance. They arrest people for bringing plastic knives to school to cut up their lunch.
I'm talking about a kid on a bike.
Doesn't matter. He could have been Al-Qaeda. It saved a lot of lives. In fact, finish up the Fox News clip. Al-Qaeda member.
Year-old kid, 20th Street and Avenue Q, and according to sheriff's deputies, they ordered him to stop. Detectives say the teen got off of his bicycle and then pointed the gun at them, the toy gun at them. One of the deputies, fearing for his life, fired a single shot, hitting him in the upper part of his body. Neighbors then describe what happened next.
We could see the blood coming from about this area on his back, and he was handcuffed like this, and he was rolling around, and his own blood was handcuffs on, and the cops were just standing there, not even making sure that the kid was dead or alive.
A 15-year-old boy rushed to the hospital, Providence Holy Cross Medical Center in Mission Hills, again in stable condition, and doctors say he's expected to survive. And now the investigation underway to determine if these deputies' actions were warranted. They're also trying to interview that 15-year-old, trying to figure out why, in fact, did he point that toy gun at deputies.
I bet he did. And watch, they're going to say by tomorrow that the cameras were not on in the cars. They weren't working, Jason.
One of the bigger stories while you were gone was this 17-year-old girl who calls 911 because her father just was in the hospital, had a brain aneurysm, and he starts having a seizure. The cop hangs up on her not once, not twice, 3 separate times while she's trying to get an ambulance for 911. She then runs to the police station where he is the only officer there, and he immediately arrests her. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up, Jones.
No, because, listen, we have a criminal government, and they've told the cops, treat the nation like scum. I drove down to the beach, and 2 separate times I'd be on I-35 with no cars around me going 72 miles an hour. Well, no, because the speed limit's 70, so I don't, I 70
miles over.
No. They didn't pull me over. Well, obviously, it's Al-Qaeda, Burma, so that's not a joke. Anyways, cops, I think one of them's called Shirts. It was a blue unmarked, and then state police. Imagine you're on a 2-lane or 3-lane, depending on which area. You're in the slow lane, and the cop, just for pleasure with their lights, comes flying right up on your hind end, almost hits you. And then this happened twice, and then pulls around, and then keeps driving on. And it's like they just are driving, and they're like, oh, I see a scum. I think they're giving orders. I'm going to show a scum that he's a scum. I'm going to show this guy he's a slave. That's what taking your shoes off are about, answering questions. When you go to the beach now, they have literally dozens of cameras. They ask you questions when you're going out on the beach. Yeah. Look like big old license plate scanners.
They indoctrinate your children in these DARE camps. Summer camps are coming this year, and the police are going to be using the DARE program to teach your kids how to say no to drugs and violence.
But also how to take their brainwashing, and the inoculations are good. Tattle on your parents. Terrorists are everywhere. I mean, this country's gone to hell. And I just want to tell everybody who's in denying this, the bankers are going to take everything you got. I mean, they're not done raping you yet.
They just took that woman's house this morning.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, all of you that think this is cutesy-tootsy and you're into bootlicking the government and all of that, good. I know it's criminal, and I know how this ends. So go ahead and suck boots all day. Burma, it's good talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
You're definitely with Al-Qaeda. Okay, going back to Tim in Ohio. No, it was Dave in California. Okay, Dave, finish up in the next minute and a half.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I think they've that bill we're talking about, HR 2159, keeping away from, and they're saying it's based on the Homeland Security who puts on the terror watch list.
No.